You're listening to Misadventures with Tea, where things get hot, steamy, and a little bit creamy. I'm your host, Joseph, and we're here to explore all things tea. So sit back, grab your mugs, and get cozy while we spill the tea on tea. Welcome to another episode of Misadventures with Tea. I'm your host, Joseph, and today I'm here with Alex.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
No, thank you for joining. Today we are here and we're just going to basically enjoy a nice cup of tea. It is a Friday night. It is in the middle of spooky season in October. You know, things starting to get a little creepy. How do you spend your Halloween season?
I actually don't. I mean, probably this year is the most festive I've gotten in a while. So I've been watching a bunch of scary movies. I think I'm going to carve out a pumpkin, make a jack-o'-lantern out of it, and just get a little festive this year.
You know what? Nothing wrong with that. I mean, I was invited to a Halloween party at this point. Actually, we both were, so that'll be interesting. Also been watching movies, keeping things with murder mysteries going, and just keeping things spooky.
That's awesome.
All right, so with if you're familiar, or maybe you're not, but I'll reiterate this for you. The layout of how we're going to go about this podcast is we're going to start with tea tasting. You provide me a little bit of your feedback as to what it smells like, what it tastes like, maybe even, when you feel like this would be a good time to drink tea. If you have any funny stories or anything affiliated with tea, otherwise no worries. And then tell me a bit about yourself, and I ended off with a brief history on the tea.
Yeah, sure. So once again, my name is Alex Karanis. I am an independent filmmaker. So I've been within the independent filmmaking community for the past, I'd say 12 to 13 years. I started when I was a freshman in high school. And ever since, I've now worked on many music videos, short films, and even feature-length films. I love what I do, and I really love working with actors and different producers, as well as directors. My main job is the big three, so directing, producing, and screenwriting.
Looks like you have a very big repertoire. I guess going off of your films, are there any recent projects that you're working on? Any even favorite ones that you've produced or done in the previous few years, decade?
Absolutely. So at the end of June of this year, my short film White Rock came out, and that's a spin-off of the West series that's also available on YouTube. White Rock is an LGBT drama film. It's only about 7 minutes, but so far it's been my most successful film in terms of views. So as of today, it has 81,000 viewers.
Well, damn.
which is really cool. I mean, it's really nice to see your film succeed and get that much attention, right? So some upcoming projects. It is October. I do have a short horror movie coming out called
Spooky.
It's called Dreamland, and I actually star in it as well. I wasn't the director. My friend Frank Shu is the director, and he's been working with me closely for the past year and a half on it. It's a horror movie, and it'll be out October 15th in time for Halloween. And last but definitely not least, over the past year, we've been working on a feature-length film called, it's the working title, right? Actually, I shouldn't reveal anything.
I wouldn't. I mean, sometimes secrets are best kept secret.
Yeah, exactly. So we actually went to Germany, Portugal, and Italy to film this. It's co-produced by a German company, and it's a feature-length coming of age LGBT drama film.
Okay, all right. Well, that's exciting. You know what? We're all looking forward to it. Hopefully, this new project has the same amount of success as White Rock did. I'm sure it will. Fingers crossed. One thing that I guess I feel like was not mentioned, but you probably should. You said you were an independent filmmaker. Do you have like your own company that you work with, or?
Yes, absolutely. So, myself and Frank Shu have started and have run Microphone Productions for the past 13 years. We started when we were both in high school. Now we live on the West Coast, and Microphone Productions continues to grow and has seen some success it has never seen before.
That's really good. For all of you who are listening and are probably unaware, Microphone Productions is actually the producer of this podcast.
Yes, and we're very proud to have this podcast as our first podcast that we're producing.
And who knows, maybe more to come depending how well we do.
Absolutely.
If it does as great as the films do, I'm sure we'll do great as a podcast and radio internet. Now, yeah, okay, so that's really great. Let me see if I have any more questions. I feel like maybe.
Well, I guess maybe I should answer the one about tea. If I should share a story on that.
Actually, before you do, why don't we go with. You know what? Start us off. This way we'll segue right into our tea tasting.
Sure. So for those who don't know, I am half Asian. My mom's side of the family does have an Asian background. So growing up within the Toronto area, dim sum is quite a regular and special thing. So I wouldn't say every weekend, but a few weekends a month, my grandparents would actually take myself and my brother out to dim sum. And the rest of the family would join too, so my aunts and uncles and sometimes my mom and dad. So a big part of dim sum is actually the tea culture. Whenever I tell friends about dim sum, I try and describe it as the Asian version of afternoon tea. So with dim sum, usually they will serve. They'll ask you what kind of tea you would like, but usually it's jasmine or oolong or some sort of green tea. So growing up, we had dim sum, as well as our household were big tea drinkers, and it was mostly floral Asian teas, nothing too heavy.
Yeah, no, that checks out. I mean, like, as you are quite well aware of, my tea cabinet is just overfilling over now. But just trying to debate on like how fast I can finish it. But with the way this podcast is going, maybe it'll be finished by the time I'm done.
That's the hope.
That's the hope. But honestly, you know what? There's always new teas coming out and new flavors to try. Sometimes you may want to try a new combination. So we'll see. It's a never-ending journey for this podcast.
Yeah, I'm excited.
All right. So don't know if I hope I didn't cut you off. Is that still the story? Or
Well, I guess one other thing to add on to that. So again, growing up in the Toronto area and growing up within an Asian household, we were exposed to a lot of different aspects of Chinese culture. So a big part of that was tea. So I'm very familiar with a bunch of different groupings of tea and different types as well. But mostly growing up, it was more floral, for sure.
So I guess there's just one question that just came to mind. What would you say would be your favorite teas?
That's a great question. So I guess it depends on the mood and season. As you're quite aware, here in the Pacific Northwest, wintertime is pretty non-existent.
Yeah, no, we don't have what's called the winter season. It's called the rain
The
season.
rain season. But I think this goes hand in hand with this type of tea. I think milk oolong is probably my all-time favorite, and the reason being is because it definitely does remind me of milk. It has some sort of taste, some sort of aroma that definitely reminds you of milk, and I think it's great for a rainy winter day. Even in the summertime, if you like it chilled.
So sorry for the disruption. There was a massive train, and now someone outside. I don't think you can hear it, but anyways. So last time I just asked you about your favorite tea. You said it was milk oolong, which is honestly quite a tasty tea. I like it. I like that it has a creamy note, and not always needed. Like you don't need to add milk. But we'll talk more about that on a different episode. So for today, I have a tea for you called Lady Londonberry.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Have you ever had it or?
No, I've never even heard of it.
Well, if you had to take a guess just by the name of the tea, what kind of tea would you think it is?
Black.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That was a good guess, huh?
That was a very good guess. Normally one would think it'd be like rubus.
No, this sounds black.
Yes.
Just because it has London in the word, right? Or in the name.
Yeah.
And usually English teas are either black or Earl Grey. So that's my lucky guess.
Yeah, well, you know what? Time to grab your tea.
All right.
Before you drink, in usual production, take a sniff and tell me what kind of smells you're getting from it.
Oh, yes, I do smell the berries. It's almost like a currant aroma.
Okay.
Yeah.
Currant, yeah.
It doesn't smell too heavy. It's almost floral, and it seems very light.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
time to give it a taste.
Okay. It's very nice.
Very nice.
Very, very nice.
Okay. So after tasting, thoughts? Like, what do you taste? What do you Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it's very nice. I think it's very light. I do taste. It's almost like a currant taste, like a dried grape or something along those lines. It's not very heavy at all. This would be great as like an iced tea. Now, what do people use this for? Like, usually, is it more of a summer drink? Is it a winter drink? Or
Well, that's my question to you. What would you think it's for?
you know what? I'm gonna stick by my statement. I think this would be great as an iced tea. So a summer drink.
A summer drink.
Yes.
Okay. You know what? Very good. Yeah, no, I can tell you when this was when most people would tend to drink this or when it's kind of like best for. So you know what? Let me give you a little bit of a brief description on what this tea is. So from what I've gathered from... Oh, actually, I should probably mention where I got this tea from first.
Okay.
So I got this tea by the packaging from the Great Wall of Tea. It's the same place where I went to get the first tea from the first episode, which was Lapsang Suchang. Anyways, I probably butchered the name, but I got it at the same time as that tea because in anticipation of this podcast, I was like, let's try 2 new flavors. Got some helpful sellers there. Actually, they were very great people and helped me pick out the teas. Unfortunately, I don't have their names, but shout out to them. I really appreciate your help that day. But anyways, so from what I could gather on different sources and from their website, it is a light medium boiled round cup with good flowery and light malt flavor with hints of strawberry and lemon.
Okay. Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, so definitely the berry slash current taste is coming from the strawberry. Um, like you said, it is very light in flavor, so it's nothing like overpowering. You know, you don't feel like, oh my god, this is too intense. I feel like the Lapsang Souchong, again, sorry if I butchered the name, I have to figure out how that's pronounced. But I feel like that one again was very light, but the smell of it was very intense. I can say that. And then they also added that this would make a perfect afternoon tea, which I have to agree.
Yeah, I mean, like, it tastes great. It's very refreshing. Right now we have it hot, and even now it's great. It's very light.
But you know what? Actually, I want to smell the tea from the packaging because there was another little hint of something that I smelled when I originally smelled this, and I just want to know if you kind of get the same types of notes.
Oh, yeah, that definitely smells different than what's in my cup. You said that there was citrus in this?
Yes. So like
I can tell. I can tell.
anything. Excuse me. Anything else?
Almost like a lavender.
Okay, that's an interesting take. You know what I was gonna say because this is what I had told the store clerk. It kind of gives me like a lychee type of like smell.
Yes, now that you mentioned it, yes. Yes.
Yeah, I figured that this I feel like you might have liked this one because it's a little bit more of like a lychee smell. I wasn't sure about taste. This was gonna be a new experience for me. There'll be times where I may have already tried the tea, or there'll be times where I haven't. So, this is one of those cases where I have not tried this tea before, and
Right.
we're enjoying this together.
Right.
Okay. So now, since you already told me a little bit about yourself, and we already talked about the tea taste, now it is time for a little bit of a brief background on this tea. So now, what I must mention with this tea, it was, and I feel like this will probably be the case for future teas, so I'll have my work cut out for me. This was hard to find the actual origin slash history background on.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yes, like basically all the sources I looked at had the same kind of little verbatim where like I just was like, okay, is there anything more to this? Like there has to be more. Thankfully, I managed to find like a little bit more information because they started throwing out a few names here and there. So I was like, okay, this works. But anyways, I'm just going to read you the verbatim. So the origin of this tea that most sources have cited was that around the 1662 in Britain, King Charles had married a Portuguese princess named Catherine of Braganza. Are you aware of this, or aware of the name?
No, I know the names. However, I'm not aware of the story. No.
Okay. So apparently, Catherine Braganza was, being married to King Charles II, and being married to a king, you become queen through marriage. So being the new queen, they confirmed that she was a tea drinker long before her wedding, and that as part of her dowry, yes, she brought a chest full of Chinese tea. So soon, she used to be serving this to her aristocratic friends, and then, word got out and it started spreading, and as it spread, it no longer became just a beverage for aristocrats, but also for the common folk and just the townspeople themselves. So yeah, basically that is one way that the history was described. I feel like it still doesn't encompass where the tea actually originated from and why the name became Lady Londonberry, if you ask me. So that was what I was given.
Well, I have a hot take on it, if you don't mind my interruption.
Sure, go. Tell me.
All right,
what's your hot take?
So this was the King of England, right? And the Portuguese princess.
Yep.
So obviously, London is the capital of the UK. So I guess because it's from this era, and it went back to England. They named it London. I'm not sure about the lady part. Maybe it's a homage, almost. Londonberry.
Lady Londonberry.
I don't know. Maybe they got some sort of berry like I did when I tasted it.
Honestly, that's an interesting take.
But what do I know, right?
I mean, no, it's a great theory. It's a great analysis of the whole situation. Honestly, it's anyone's guess at this point. Like I said, it took me some time to kind of find, first of all, anything aside from this verbatim. But you know what? I did find something else, and so I'll share with you what I believe could potentially be the actual origins of how this tea came to be. Because I feel like this first part was more kind of like how the tea came to be in general. Like it was just brought to the UK. Okay, that's great, but like why the name? Like why is this specific tea with how it's made called Lady Londonberry? You know what I mean? It's just it doesn't add up. But anyways, so this is what I got. Okay. So, according to Wikipedia, because that was the only other source I could find that had something that differed, and sometimes Wikipedia can be a little bit dodgy, but I feel like in this case it did provide some good insight. The tea was originally prepared for I'm gonna butcher this word, Marchionus. It's not the Marquis, Marchionus.
Interesting.
I will spell it out and let me know if you know how to pronounce it. Marchioness.
Marchiones?
Marchionus.
Yeah, I'm
Anyways,
not sure.
This tea blend was originally prepared for the Marchioness of Londonberry, Edith Vane Tempest Stewart. That was her name. So using the tea blend was made using a few different types of teas. So they had teas from the foothills of Ceylon, Ceylon,
Ceylon?
Anyways,
Yeah, I'm not sure.
these are, I think, probably like what they used to be called. Anyways, it's now Sri Lanka. Then teas from the hills of Darjeeling district, which is now West Bengal in India. And then the tea gardens of Formosa, which is now the island of Taiwan. So basically, this tea blend was created back in 1932 when she gave the permission to the Jacksons of Piccadilly, which is now a London tea house and is now actually owned by, oh my god, Twinings. I think it's what they said. I should have wrote that down, but anyways, but yeah, basically they asked for, she gave them her permission to name the tea after her, Lady Londonberry, because she was the Marchioness of Londonberry. So makes a little more sense than the Portuguese princess bringing her teas into England.
I see. Well, that's an interesting backstory.
Yeah, so that's what I basically can provide with regards to the history. If I do end up finding more, or if anybody doesn't know any more about the origins of this tea, please do share, because I just know I had some hard time. I spent days and found nothing. So I feel like that tends to happen and will happen going forward. So yeah, anyways, that is basically all I have to provide for you. I'm if there's any last minute things you want to add, please feel free to share, and let me know what's on your mind.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on the program.
Thank you for joining.
Of course, and best of luck for this first inaugural season. I think second, yeah, I love what you're doing with all these teas. I think it's very interesting. You know that I'm a very big tea drinker. Whether it's day or night, I'll find something. Um, so fun fact, I don't drink coffee. So tend to stick to teas. I think it's actually a healthy alternative. Coffee is a little bit more heavy for me. So yeah, I love what you're doing, and I would love to be on the program again.
Yeah, well, we'll have you again. And it's funny that you mentioned that you are not a coffee drinker because one of these days, oh, I forgot to I forgot to ask that on my first episode. Actually, I might have. But anyways, that is a question that is for my guests. Are you a coffee or tea drinker? And well, you answered that one. So for the next person, I'll have to ask them and make sure if they are a coffee or tea drinker, and if they are not a tea drinker, did the tea that I provide them have, any kind of change on their thoughts about it? But anyways, thank you again for coming today. It was a great pleasure having you here. And yeah, that was it. And I'm glad and hope you had fun.
Of course, thank you. The pleasure was all mine.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you. Bye.